You would think after being off a week, we'd get the beginning at least open. We couldn't figure out how to connect last week, and now we can't even figure out how to start the show, Thomas.
Well, we need lessons. I don't think
or a
there's any
baseball
question
bat.
about that.
Right here with a bat, bang, to shake it up and make that brain work again. Jiggle it a little bit, in the words of Will Smith, I suppose. Little do we know he was going to really live up to that with Chris Rock. Anyway, last week, Tom, you did pretty good with your picks. Maybe we shouldn't do any shows and just pop your picks in there.
Well, I was very pleased.
And how did you do at Epsom today?
Okay.
Okay.
I gave a little money, but I did win a couple, so I felt
a little donation here and there, right?
Well, it wasn't painful. Let's put it that way. It was, I started out strong and fell apart at the end.
Yeah, I've had a lot of days like that. I would rather start out strong and fall apart at the end than just fall apart in the beginning, because I'll never know if I was going to be strong at the end because I wrap it up.
Yeah.
So free tracks, you can get free picks every single day, guaranteed tip sheet. There is a link in the description below. Kindly use that. Today's free track is Penn National, so that's tonight yet. So you can still make use of that if you plan on betting.
The Penn Mile tonight.
Big race, right?
Yeah, grade 3.
Yes, and ordinarily we don't make stakes races free. So biggest night at Penn National. Make sure you go over there and take advantage of that. Perhaps a little bit of an error on our end. Always you can take advantage of other people's errors. So we got a big race this week at Epsom. Tom, what's the big deal this weekend at the Epsom track?
No, we had the Oaks today, and we have the Derby tomorrow, and it's of course English Classic and a 1.5-mile race. And Epsom is a unique course because you go over the river and through the woods, so to speak,
and too far away. So
driving finish up down in Tattenham Corner, and then you come up, and you got to go. Basically, stamina is absolute requirement in this track.
And then the going is good to soft. What did you see today?
Soft would probably be more accurate. Even though listening to some of the jockeys' interviews after the races, a lot of them said it was pretty good in many places, and they looked there. The rail was I think it was, they said 5 meters or something like that off the thing. So they'll take those temporary rails down for the races for tomorrow.
All righty. Well, the first one they're going to do is 1.5 miles of a furlong. So what's that? 1 1/16 in our world?
That would be a 1 mile and a furlong is 1.25 miles.
It was a half a furlong though.
Oh, so I got 1 mile and a furlong.
That's race 1, right?
2 furlongs.
Let's do race 1 real quick. It's 1 mile and 2 furlongs. We don't have any bets in there. Tom has some picks. We'll have those picks available over on horseracingtoday.net a little while later on tonight after the show. But what we're going to do is we're going to do like we always do, Tom. We're going to have some fun with the predictor and see what the predictor says in the opening leg. And then we'll go on to race 2 where we both have some picks. All right. What happened to the predictor? Rich pressed done instead of run.
Hit the wrong predictor button.
And Portsmouth. Wait.
Yeah.
That one's going to first. Prep School finished second, according to predictor. Then you got Red Hot Whisper and Precisa and Hot Fuss. They're right in the mix there too. Tom, any of those are in your picks?
I have one of them.
Only
Parcissa, the number 2. I got 9 on top of 2 with D5.
9 on top of 2, 5. All right, now we get the press to done button and go off to race number 2, where both of us will make some selections. This is the one that's 1 mile and 1/16. It is the Princess Elizabeth Stakes. They're going to go 1 mile and 1/16 on that track, Tom. So let's go back here and look at 1 mile and 114 yards. I think this is the start right here. They're going to start here. They're going to go uphill. They're going to level out. Then they're going to run downhill, then more downhill, and then that taxing finish that you talked about. So being in shape is important, but what about positional?
Well, positionally, You want to. Today's been mainly a couple from the outside one, so and a couple from the inside run, and we had some front runners win, which is a little more unusual. And I think tactically for this type of race, I would want cover.
So in race number 2, as far as this race is concerned, Tom, well, we don't have any predictor. Let's go through a couple of things. I mean, we do have a predictor, but some of the front runners and all that kind of stuff, we don't have the early pace information in here, but we do have the information that you're going to provide, otherwise known as picks. So who do you have to start off the Queen Elizabeth, Princess Elizabeth?
Number 8, Chic Columbine. Got draw 2. I tossed the last race out. It was a bad draw. And frankly, the ground was too fast for her. So she wants a little moisture in the ground. She won her first race. It was a listed race at St. Cloud, and it was on heavy going in March. This season, last season, she won 3 in a row, and her best or that good to soft running seems to be what she likes the most. And I think she's got a nice shot here. Number 4, Royal Dress is my next one with draw 6. Our first season start was a winning effort at Goodwood. And these were new owners. And I was very happy because I had her that day, and she went off at 33-1. That's a good price. She puts her good efforts on the softer run going, but I think this track will suit her, and she ran well at Goodwood, and that's another track we will be visiting at some point, maybe next week. And that is a taxing track too, as Epsom is, and I think she can handle that. And I think they'll intentionally put her in this race because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I'm taking Running Lion, number 5, with draw 4. Last year, she was in the Oaks and didn't get out of the starting gate because she was scratched before they went off. She was being naughty. Her first start this season, though, she was in a Group 2 at Newmarket, and she went off the favorite and finished second. She's won on soft going. She's won on good going, but she hasn't won since May. So I can't put her on top. But I think she's going to improve off that last race, and I can't leave her off my ticket, and I didn't.
Somehow we started at the same place. Chic Columbine, kind of a weird name for a horse considering the history of Columbine, but the horse has a lot of versatility
more has to do with the flower, I think. Or some people consider it a weed.
A lot of versatility in this horse, though, in terms of its running styles. I think it could come in useful. I'm kind of going through the different running styles of all the different horses. Seem a lot of them want to be middle forward, so this one could get a really nice trip. Sparks Fly, the 7 horse, is my 3rd selection. This horse likes to win. Thomas has run 10 times on turf and won 8 of them. It's going to make the second start after a layoff, and it won the last 3 times the horse made a second start off the sidelines, and absolutely none of those 3 wins were close. Running Lion, that one is probably faced the toughest competition in this field, Tom. No question about that. Question is the horse itself ready to run up to that level? And then finally, we agree on 3 out of 4. Royal Dress is my 4th choice. This one is a closer. I feel like getting a little bit of extra distance today will be beneficial for this horse, and probably more fit in the second start after a layoff. Let's see if any of we agreed on 3, so there's only 1 4th one in there. Let's see if any of them show up at the finish line first. Bang! Running Lion gets a little bit of an edge over Sparks Fly. The one we both put on top, Chic Columbine, well, that was coming in from France, right? So probably that's why it doesn't show up there, no?
Yeah.
All right, so there we go.
They won't have those stats involved in their algorithms and top speed thing and whatever else they would use.
Yeah, they need to have someone who can speak French. On staff, maybe. Who knows? All right, I'm sure they do. They're just probably a French.
Probably more than a few people.
Yeah, it's probably a French-English thing. Their rivalries.
Yeah. Oh, well, not to mention they run for more money in France than they do in England. So the purses are a lot better structured.
Here we go. What are we going to do? Race number
3.
235, right? Yeah. Same. He's going to run a mile and a 16th again. So we saw before.
Distance.
Right here. Boom. That same run around there. So keep an eye on race number 2 to get a sense of what the bias might look like for race number 3. Tom, well, we just do what we do. We make some picks for the Betfred Diomed Stakes.
And it is a Group 3. So I'm looking at number 1, Highland Avenue is my top choice. Draw 1. I returns after 4 races in Dubai and in Bahrain and drops in distance, which I think will help. Last year it came off a layoff and won a Group 3 at Newmarket. I think the distance is up its alley, and I think it'll turn in a nice run here. And I'm putting it on top because I think that will happen. Number 8, Silver Sword is going to be my next choice. He has draw 4. I returned to the races with a 4th at Haydock, and that was at a 7-furlong race, and it was on the good to firm going. It does seem to like a little ease in the ground, but we'll see. It was a good, okay race because he was a little keen at the beginning of it, and I think it was useful for prep for this one. So we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I'm going to take the old guy, number 4, Regal Reality, with draw number 8. He's 9 years old, and he still keeps showing up in the money. No win, but he makes money. He did Chester last time out. That's what he did. Ran 3rd behind actually behind 2 group winners. So he still got it. He had a good 4th in a Group 3 at Newmarket. This horse just shows up, and that's why I think it's going to show up again, and I'm putting it on the ticket.
I think I have that one on my ticket too. At the top of my ticket, I have number 2, though. Embesto, 4-1 right now. That horse, right about where they started from. Last time out, tough start. Probably cost him a good chance to win a race in his last. I think he gets a better start today, and I think he gets a better result today. Number 4, Regal Reality. This one's really never been out of contention in any of its last 10 races. 3rd up off the layoff, I think, is the key for this old man. Highland Avenue, Thomas, that's my 3rd choice. Probably the most back class in this race, but it really hasn't shown much of it as of late. So if it can dig into its bag of history, you might see a little bit of that return today. And then finally, Royal Dubai. This horse is making its first start after a layoff, and some of its best runs come after it's got some time to freshen up a little bit. Let's see who the predictor thinks will be the freshest of them all at the finish line. Looks like it's going to go with Regal Reality. Looks like it likes the old man, Thomas. Then Embesto. Highland Avenue up in there too. Royal Scotsman, of course. Some of these other horses, not a lot of data to put into the algorithm. But I like that it likes the old men. It makes you and I feel a little bit more welcomed by...
We're getting closer to us, yes.
Yes, the predictors. Got a little bit of ageism favoring guys like you and me. Race number 3, we just did. So we're going to do race number 4 now. This one is this was my favorite race of the whole weekend right there, Tom. The Betfred 3-year-old Dash Handicap. Yes, it's a Dash, all right. A Dash of what was it, 20 horses? They had like 30 entries at first originally?
Yeah, it was well subscribed. People were interested in this one.
Well, they were interested in running that little short sprint right there, like dragsters or funny cars, whatever your favorite is.
Yeah, but it's a little different because you're going up.
Downhill.
It's not a flat track. Just so it's a little bit of stamina you do need, even at that 5-furlong distance.
They'll be working for sure.
Oh yeah,
and there's a lot of them to work too, through and around. So did they split like the Red Sea again, Thomas, or do you think they're just going to run straight?
Surprised if they don't. The size of the field, you may even see 3 groups. One up the middle and 2 along. Really will depend on where the going is good, and that will be determined for the trainers and jockeys when they walk the course in the morning and see where they think the best way to go is. We, on the other hand, will just have to watch and hope
Just
So
pick.
go the right place.
Just pick the right horse. There's 20 of them, Tom. So we got plenty of
Only,
opportunities.
only 20.
Yeah, just 20. And they're only going 5 furlongs. Yeah, but anyhow,
no big.
who do you think's going to make it to 5 furlongs the fastest?
I'm going to take a start with Nick's number 17, draw 2. Won by a neck last time out at Chester at 5 furlongs and ran second. Its first start of the season, that was at 6 furlongs. The going was good. He's run on heavy before. He's run on everything. And I think he's the one to beat. I think he's going to be a tough horse. 12, the Coffee Pod is my next choice. That'll be
Bomb.
7. That's a bomb, yes.
Yes, bombs away.
He's only one race in his career. His form is on and off, but I think the distance suits, and I think he may like it. He's placed on softer. He was a little too keen in his last race. That's not necessarily a good thing, even in a sprinter. And use all that energy up early rather than late. I think he's going to use it late, and he's going to be right there and get a price. And finally, I'm going to take number 8, Mash a Dad, with draw 8. Just missed at Ascot last time out at 6 furlongs by a neck. And we know what running at Ascot is like. So it's a little, I think that Epsom at 5 is a little tougher, but still a good run. Got 9 runs, and he's never won a race, but he's finished second 5 times. And he's losing by a neck, a head, and then a couple lengths. That's got to be a frustrating horse to own.
I imagine, yeah.
But again, I think he's a good candidate to hit the board. And that's where I'm going to play him.
I'm going to go. I don't have no idea who's going to win these races. 20. I mean, I should have said
Dartboard time.
I have an idea who I think will win this race. You picked the 17. I'm just going to go one inside of you. A much different location on the track. I'm going to go with Grand Lad. It's a wide open race. And as I look through the 5 furlong times, I know they run a bunch of different tracks, so times are going to be a bit different, but it seems like it consistently runs some of the fastest 5 furlong times, no matter where Grand Lad runs. We did land on Mashadi as well. That 8 horse is my second choice at 8-1. Got a couple of tips right there too. This one likes to finish second, Tom. 5 races, 4 of those times it finished second. And 9 races, and 7 of the times it finished second. So may not win, may not finish third, but really likely to finish second. So we'll put him there. One that likes to hang at the end, it looks like. A professional wallpaper horse. Number 6, Blue Storm. Another one with a tip. How about that? I'm getting all the tips today. Lots and lots and lots and lots of front runners in this race, Thomas. This one should get a trip behind that wall of speed and pick off all the legs as they get tired late. And then McLovin. How can you not like a horse named McLovin? 33-1 for McLovin. Has a couple of really fast 5 furlong races, and they can put one of them on the board today. All those other people who tipped those other horses will regret not loving McLovin. I'm really curious to see who the predictor picked.
Well, that'll be interesting. The other thing to mention, of course, is that if anybody out there has good luck with picking the winner in this one, it's going to pay something.
Mm-hmm. Well, according to the predictor, you want to go with Grand Lad. How about that? And Mashadi, you would think that maybe I looked at this, but I didn't. So I hope for once the predictor is right. It seemed like he was favoring us old folks in that last race. Favoring me once again. So I'm a big fan of the predictor this weekend, Tom.
Well, we'll see.
Yes, indeed. We will. I don't know if the predictors are being with the predictor or being against the predictor is the better place to be. The Aston Martin.
Well, sometimes it's like us, sometimes it's good to be with our picks. And sometimes
run like hell, like Pink Floyd says. Yes, indeed. All right. So race number 5 is the Aston Martin Dash Handicap.
Seems appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be dashing into Aston Martins. Like, isn't that what, what's his name? James Bond's car, right? Aston Martin?
Sure is.
That's probably about it for me on movie trivia, folks. So you should be, don't expect a whole lot more. They're going to go around that 5 furlong run once again. through up the hill at the end. So while it is quick, as Tom mentions, it is uphill, so they will be tiring at the end. But before they get there, Thomas, and they're all out of breath, who's going to be the one that makes the trip into the winner's enclosure?
I would like to see number 5, the Bell Conductor, finish with draw 5, win the race. He won a race before, and then he received a 5-pound penalty for that win and couldn't really handle the final furlong in his next start. He's been a better all-weather horse on the all-weather, but he's got a win in a fourth in 2 starts recently on the turf. So he's maybe liking that turf a little more than before. But his record at 5 furlongs is pretty good. 22 starts. He's got 7 wins and 3 placings. They are putting an apprentice on to get that weight off, and I think that'll help. And apprentice has won on the horse before. So number 7, looking for Lydian is my next choice. Draw 1. Run good races last 3 times. He's got a second twice and a third. I think he wants this type of track, a good going track, with a little bit of moisture in it. He's certainly in form, and he's at this level, and really I couldn't leave him off my ticket, and that's why I put him in. And finally, I'm going to take number 2, which is Democracy Dilemma. That has draw 8. He's been running twice. He ran twice in May, and he winning by a neck in one of them and lost by a head. That's not bad. He wins on everything. And he's one of the worst mud tracks to really good to firm. So I don't think that matters. He's done well at this distance also. 19 starts. He has 6 wins and 3 placings. He's definitely in form. With those 2 starts, I can see him winning, frankly. But I decided to put him down a little on this, put him third on my ticket.
So not the Tom Kenny.
The Omni looks good for this race.
Not often Tom thinks his third pick has a chance to win, so keep that in mind, folks. I'm going to go with the 7 horse in this race. Dream Composer. Odds started off at 12 to 1, drifted up to 16 to 1, back down to 10 to 1. Dream Composer, last time out, relative to the other time, most recent races, ran a lot faster. Maybe other people picked up on that because you got 3 tips on Dream Composer. Another horse you and I agree on today, and another one that's widely tipped, Looking for Linda at 7 to 1. I don't know if this one's going to win, Tom. It's been knocking on the door in 2024, but just seems like it likes to finish second, third, give you the kind of hope as it approaches the wire at the end and just leaves you heartbroken the last minute. Next up for me is Silky Wilkie, the 3 horse in the money. This one likes to finish in the money, Thomas. It's raced 26 times at the distance and hit the board in 18 of them. That's a pretty consistent performer. One that wouldn't probably be as frustrating as that other horse that you talked about a little bit earlier. And that last race is a little bit better than it looks because it ran the same time on a soft track as it did on a fast track. Usually your soft times are a little bit slower. And another highly tipped horse with 4 of them.
And today they were pretty slow. They were up as much as 5 seconds above the standard.
So they're walking.
Yeah, at times, yeah. Well, Luxembourg and Ryan Moore literally stole a race, and he just the first 2 furlongs he was crawling along. I mean, he was just not even. I mean, Luxembourg wasn't even look like it was just any big deal. He was just striding out,
going for a morning jog. Well, Chipstead, the 4 horse, my final pick. Maybe that one will be another one like that, Tom. This is interesting horse for me. It's an all or nothing at the distance, 10 times out. Well, essentially all or nothing. It's run 10 times at the distance. It's won 5 of those races. It's got no seconds. It's got a well-beaten third in that mix too. So almost an all or nothing horse. But you put that horse at any other distance, 25 times. It's only managed to find the winner's enclosure 3 times. So unquestionably a horse for the 5 furlong course. And according to our predictor, which I haven't forgotten yet today, somehow, some way, whoops,
Well, there you forgot it.
Pressing the wrong buttons, but not forgetting to do it. Bam! Dream Composer. Wow, look at that, Tom.
Well, you must be using a predictor for your.
I must be. I'm in fuego with the predictor. God, they don't even need to run the races, Tom. Let's just go with what the predictor says. All right. Well, we'll see. I like I said.
Well, we can definitely do it for the for our races that we're not talking about. We're just using the predictor.
Yes. Well, I mean, I didn't use the predictor, but apparently this algorithm is the same as their algorithm. And we're going to go off to the big race of the day. I don't know. Why do they call it a derby instead of a derby? Where did the E become a R?
Because they've run the race a lot more times than we've run our race. The Oaks is 256 years old. And I think this one's a year or two older than that.
Jeez.
So they can call whatever they want.
Quarter of a millennium. That's a hell of a
yeah. It's pretty phenomenal when you think about it. And the track, it's still run at the same place.
Wow, that's some amazing connection in history, right? When you stand in that, it's a place that if you're a horse player, you kind of got to go at some point in your life if you can, because you can think about how people stood there, a quarter of a millennium ago doing the same thing, one heck of a way to connect to the past. Well, this one's a mile and 4
at the beginning of this, people used to ride their horses to the track to race them. There was one gentleman, it was before a Derby Mini, and I don't remember the year, but he decided to put his horse in the wagon so it wouldn't get tired going to the track.
And did he get like
they won? Yes.
So you say, did he get like burned at the stake or anything like that for that?
Well, it was definitely a different concept at that point in
He's
racing.
probably the only guy back then that could afford a wagon. That's probably why.
That's probably. I think this is the sport of kings, and I think we were in that level at that point in the world at that time for sure.
Well, the smart king. All right. Well, a mile and a half. A mile and 4 furlongs in 6 yards. That 6 yards will be the difference maker in this race, Tom. They're going to start back here. Well, we're not going to start back here because this is 10 yards. A couple strides in, you're going to go uphill, uphill, uphill. Then they're going to level out. Then they're going to go downhill. Get a little bit of a reave coming through the turn.
Yeah, they're going to cut that corner a bit when you see them, and how they cut the corner there to make it obviously the shorter run, and then hit that turn, and then go down. And then you head for home, and you better have some stamina because it's an interesting run up, especially after going a mile and a half.
That reminds me of just looking at this as my parents telling me they used to go uphill both ways in the snow to school. Well, in this case, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes, except without the snow. All right, Tom, who's going to win the Derby, part of the British Championship Series?
I'm going to take number 2. Ancient Wisdom is my top choice. Draw 11. Last time out, it ran second by 6 lengths to a horse that ran in probably his best race ever, which was Economics, and he's not in this race. They decided to pass on it. His horse has run 6 times and never out of the money, and he won 4 of them. He prefers a little bit of a testing ground, but I think this is an ideal place to run a great race, and why not at one of the biggest races?
Mm-hmm.
And he's been the favorite in all his races, and now you're getting 8-1. That's pretty damn good.
Yes.
And if you look at the connections, it may also tell you something.
Whoops. Yes, indeed. Buick and Appleby.
Yeah. They win.
Batman and Robin.
They win a few races.
Laverne and Shirley. Great duos. Go on.
Yeah. I am not a big fan of the 2 big Aidan O'Brien favorites. And we saw what the Oaks horse did today, which was not much. Didn't like the track, I think. But I'm going to take the other Aidan O'Brien horse in this race, and that's Euphoric, the number 8, who's got draw 9. He's within a length of Los Angeles at Leopardstown last race. He's only a maiden winner, but he's also only run 3 times, and he's been in the money in all those races. He's bred for distance. He wants distance. And he cost over $2 million. And I'll take 26 to 1
on a $2 million horse.
On an Aiden Bryan horse.
Yes.
I don't
they
think
don't really spend that much money over there on these horses. So $2 million is a big buy.
Yeah, they do. Sometimes they do.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of money.
It sure is.
And it is very well bred. I mean, but it's definitely bred for a distance. And this one is going to shock you because it is the longest price on the board.
Nothing shocks me.
Number 13, Mr. Hampstead. Let's draw 5.
150 to 1.
Yeah, he's only 150 to 1.
You sure they don't think he's going to scratch?
No, he'll be in, I think. He's one of the only horses in this race that has actually run this distance. And he finished third at Chester. He's still a maiden. But a couple years ago, of course, by the name of Mojo Star, who was a maiden, ran second at big odds in the Derby. And he went on to run pretty well in a top company later. So he may end up a middle distance horse in the future, but at that price, with a run of the distance, and Chester is a tough little track to negotiate around. Some very much reminiscent of the tracks in this country and on the turf courses. And I think that may just do enough to get him in and have a nice, maybe $30 placing price, which I wouldn't mind.
At $150, yeah. Maybe you get lucky, he even takes home the top prize.
So I'm going to put him in there and see what happens.
Well, I'm going to put Dancing Gemini in here. As I was reading through the comments of other horses of how they won, there are a lot of horses that it said made all, soon to lead, track the leaders, set the tone, like all that front running type verbiage. Horse after horse. And I was thinking, man, and then I had to go back and is this a 1.5 mile race or a 5 furlong race? Another one of those 5 furlongers? No, this one is a 1.5 miles. And horse after horse after horse, up front, up front, up front, up front. I think a lot of them are going to be up front. And Dancing Gemini has a great chance to get an unbelievable trip to absolutely match its running style. So I'm going to go ahead and do Dancing Gemini on top. Los Angeles, the 11 horse. This one is not lost in 3 races, Thomas. And that Australian announcer's proclamation of you don't know how good they are until they lose rings true in my ears. Remember, we see horses at this level coming in unbeaten against lesser competition, but we'll find out what this horse is about. And unlike all the other ones up in here, Tom, that I feel like are going to be some of the other favorites in there that are going to be forward, this is another one that should sit right behind the front runners and watch them all smoke themselves out. Number 2, Ancient Wisdom. I think you said you like that one, right, Tom?
Yes, I did. I have one on top.
I have it third. This horse has beaten plenty of the other horses in here that should get some mid-level action, not at the bottom of the pack like Tom's 150 to 1 shot, but a lot of those 10 to 12 to 15 to 1 shots where you're going to find the bulk of these horses, most of whom are pretty good. But Ancient Wisdom has a lot of black type from the horses it has faced in this field behind it. I see no reason why it doesn't beat those horses again. And then City of Troy, that's the one. I know you went the other Aidan O'Brien horse. I put it fourth, Tom, because 2023, City of Troy beats these horses. 2024, City of Troy, its only start this year. Yeah, it probably finishes last.
Was a mess.
Yes. So you can't overlook the horse's ability entirely, but you certainly have to take a look at that last race and hold your nose while you pick it. But if it does run back to that form, I think 3 to 1, which is about where it is right now, could look like a steal.
All right, yeah. So if it runs race, it's definitely the horse to beat. But I go with that theory of you're a great 2-year-old, but you're not such a good 3-year-old.
Yeah, a lot of them do that, right?
It's maturity. I mean, some of them develop quicker and then they fizzle. And we've seen that with more than a few juvenile Breeders' Cup winners on the dirt. And what have they done in the Derby?
Nada.
Nada. Only what? Well, we have 2 winners so far:
Something like that.
Nyquist and the Carl Nosker one. Smart Sense. No, that's not right. I forget the other one.
Yeah, I don't recall either.
But Nyquist won. Yeah, that one I do remember.
Here's one I didn't obviously use the predictor here because Dancing Gemini is nowhere to be seen. But Ambiente Friendly is in there, Tom, a horse that neither of us mentioned at 15-2. Bellum Justum. Ancient Wisdom is in there, Mr. Hampstead. Sayadati. Yeah. I'm sure the announcer's hoping that one is obscure the entire race. And then City of Troy in there as well. I didn't do race number 7 because I'm dumb. Tom sent me an email of the list of races we were going to do, and I saw it ended with the Epsom Derby. And I thought, well, that makes sense because it's the big race of the day. And then when I went back to double check my notes, it said message clipped, and I didn't click on that link. So Tom's going to take the show from here for race number 7. This one is the Long Shot Northern Dancer Handicap. This one, they're going to go a mile, 4.5 miles with 6 yards again. So they're going to start inside this little thing and going to go uphill both ways in the snow to school, just like we saw in the Epsom Derby. Tom, who is your first choice in this race?
We're going to start with number 8, Flash Bardot. And it's got draw 9. Average effort last time out on the good going at York. Winning effort on the little softer side than before that. Record at this distance is 8 runs, 4 wins, and a placing. She's pretty good at this distance, and I think she'll win. Number 2, Relentless Voyager is going to be my next choice. Has draw 1. First start of the season was at Newmarket. It lost by 5 lengths. Ran 3rd. It's only a maiden winner, and that was on the all-weather. But interestingly enough, they thought enough of the horse to ship it to Italy and run in the Italian Derby, and it ran 3rd there. And it just missed 2nd. I think this is a good spot to get another win, and it may be the one that wins. And finally, I'm going to take one of the, I think will be a little shorter price. That'll be number 13. Corlarga, I think it is. Corlard, I don't know. Draws 12. Won 3 in a row on both the good and heavy going, so it doesn't really matter what it runs on. It's had 7 runs before, and it did absolutely nothing. So that's a horse that's decided the light went on, and I'm going to start winning now. We've seen a few of those horses. Can't figure out what to do, and now it's on a tear. It's going to move up in class. It's only got 1 start at this distance, but it did win. Win again, yeah, that wouldn't be a huge surprise. This is what I refer to as the hot horse.
Instead of the IIB, the favorite finished second horse. All right, let's see. Maybe it finished
going
second.
Up in class, so I can't. I look at that more for those ones that are dropping. The big favorite, coming in from New York to Parks, and everybody loads up on it and runs second.
Well, there you have the David Bowie horse coming in first. Ziggy just missing the Stardust in there. There's Qatari. Think First, something that is probably not a bad idea. Flash Bardot really looks like it's farther up the track than Ziggy is, but who knows? The algorithm could be a little bit off. The photos always are funny at tracks. And that's it for the predictor for this race. That leaves one more race on the card, Tom. That is race number 8. I didn't do any picks. You did some picks for this one. They'll be available over in our horseracingtoday.net website, along with a link to some free pass performances, a link to all of the Racing Post pages that you see us put on here. So if you want to look at the predictor and have some fun and see how your picks stack up, feel free to do so for this track and others where Racing Post makes the predictor available. That's all we're bringing to the table on this one, Tom. Tom, you'll let us know.
I went 8-6-1.
8-6-1. All right. So let's see how that fares. Bam. Misty Gray. I don't know what number that is.
That is number 1.
Number 1. And then Russet Gold is on the bottom down there. It's number 9. Mom's Tipple.
I have Mom's Tipple.
Uh-huh.
And I also
that's not on the list.
Strike Red is my other choice.
bright red. And that one is number
stripe red.
The 6 horse. Yeah, that one didn't make it either. So
nope.
Just one of Tom's horses making it into the mix in the last race.
This is on the curve or on the turn, and so it comes out of the chute. So it makes it a little more. Some those horses like, and you should like this track anyways because they run counterclockwise.
They run our way. They're not. That's they racehorse our way, but they drive the wrong way over there. All right, well, that wraps it up for this week, Tom, for us at the Epsom Derby, the British Championship Series, amongst other horse races. Of course, Thomas and I will be back next Friday for another Foreign Friday. You kind of hinted we're going to do
Glenwood next week. We're going to do Haydock or Goodwood. Goodwood's on Sunday. Probably one of those 2 tracks. There's certainly run a few good races, so check those out. And we're now how many days away from Royal Ascot?
Well, tomorrow's the 1st, so the first race is on the 18th. So I guess if I did some math, well, we're 18 and a half days away, or if you're in England, you're a little bit more than 18 days away.
I also sent you the 2023 races in the winter odds, and if you want to see, I think it was 4 favorites won at Royal Ascot last year. So, and the longest price I think was 150 to 1.
Well, maybe you'll have 151 at Epsom this week. You picked one of those. Well, we'll certainly be around for all of those picks in middle to late June, starting on June 18th. We'll do all of the Ascot days. On Monday, I will return with Terry. We'll do Parks on Monday and Tuesday. Pretty sure we'll take Wednesday off because I have to get the wagering guide for Guaranteed Tip Sheet, which, again, there's a free link in the description below to get some free picks for the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga.
Well, you got to let your work cut out on all those races because there's a lot of races that are big bucks.
Was it like 16 races or something?
Yeah,
like that?
and how many of those are major stakes races that week?
I think there's 16 stakes
Thursday
races,
and then Sunday. I mean, it's pretty intense.
It's a festival.
Oh yeah, they
for sure
play it up big. And my understanding, it's sold out.
Saratoga, yeah, I can imagine. And it's mostly sold out even when they don't have stakes races.
Oh, yeah. Well, during
the big ones like that.
Well, I mean, they do generally have a big race each day of its meet, the 5 weeks plus. And but this is a bit different.
Yes, it is. It should be. I mean, I'm sure it's I think I got an email, though, that told me I can get a ticket to it, but I won't unfortunately be able to make it there. In any case, Thomas,
traffic.
Yeah, well, we can walk there from most places. I mean, it wasn't that far from where we stayed. If we had to, we could have walked, I suppose.
Oh yeah, about a little less than a mile, I think it was.
Yeah, my truck broke, so I had to walk a little more than a mile both ways today to where I had to go. But in any case, the horses are going to run 1.5 miles and 7 yards. So
that's what you're running, right?
Yeah, well, if you added A plus B, I'll be close. All right, until we get back together again, certainly we hope that all of your endeavors, whether they're horse racing at Saratoga or trying to get a parking spot next Saturday, just kind of kicking it around for the weekend, you're trying to pick one horse out of 20 in the Epsom Derby, whatever it is you're doing, we certainly hope it's got God's grace, God's favor, and Thomas, it ends up in your most favored place on the planet, and that is
the winner's enclosure.
So subdued. Have a great weekend, folks. We'll see you on Monday.